Aloha, welcome to the Mr. G podcast. Today is episode 49, I believe. We might be on episode 50. I do know that today is Thursday, July 6th, 2023. It's about 79 degrees here in sunny Honolulu, out on the outskirts of Chinatown. I am Mr. G, Gregory Brandt, and today we're going to be talking more about Indiana Jones. I got the whip out here, my official Indiana Jones whip. And I'm actually really good at it. I was messing around with it earlier, knocking like cans off in the balcony and stuff. And I plan on becoming an expert whip master. Somebody needs to take over the Indy franchise IRL in real life. And obviously, our heroine is not up to the task. But with that being said, the movie is not as horrible as people made it out to be. If you look at yesterday's episode of the podcast, I talk about the psychology theory called expectancy variation theory. And that's when you have a preconceived notion that something's going to be a certain way. And then it turns out not to be that way. And you remember it better than it actually was. So I heard so many horrible things about the Indiana Jones movie. They were just, this movie's horrible. They ruined Indiana Jones. They made Indiana Jones gay. Indiana Jones has Down syndrome. What have they done with Indy? It's transvestite Indy. And it wasn't that bad, and it was just I could say during the movie it was a typical Indiana Jones movie. It was a good Indiana Jones movie in my opinion. Actually, the one thing that they did is they added like unnecessary characters, like to meet standards and requirements of like having somebody of this race, having somebody of that race. They added little like propaganda things. And also when the scenes where Indiana Jones is supposed to be the one like jumping on cars, doing all these crazy stunts, you have this like female lead actress in every scene, and she's doing all these like heroic stunts. And it's kind of like, why are we concerned with her? And she's just trying to sell treasure. She's supposedly his godfather, but like I guess the director James Mangold just thought that this character was just going to be so likable and have her own spin-off series, but that's not necessarily the case. Another good thing that people that like Indiana Jones, like myself, they also like history and archaeology. So the movie does hit that note, I would say, as far as the Archimedes and the Dial of Destiny, and they planned it right, having it come out on the 4th of July weekend. There was even a scene in there where there's like a 4th of July parade. I know it's not the 4th of July. They're supposedly celebrating the Apollo astronauts landing on the moon in the summer of 1969. But there's red, white, and blue, and Indiana Jones is running in a horse through a parade in New York City. But on a scale from 1 to 10, I would give the movie a 7. It's a passing movie. It passes as an Indiana Jones movie. And like I said, the action scenes were really good. The way that they did the reverse aging and made new scenes of an Indiana Jones. The opening action sequence was good with them fighting on top of the train. You had a good sequence with eels. You had a sequence with centipedes. You had treasure. You had short round, the new short round, they call him. And the ending plane scene when they jump out of the plane and they end up 200 years in BC. That was the highlight. But then I don't know if I saw an alternate ending, but then they like wrapped it up in a pretty sad way. And a lot of scenes they also portrayed Indiana Jones like kind of sad, especially the one when he was teaching, because he is a college professor. And being a former teacher, I have always resonated with Indiana Jones, because sometimes I've had classes where all the students were very attentive and eyes on me. Maybe it was an all-female class, and everybody was listening to what I was saying. Then I'd had other classes where it's just like ragtag rugrats throwing paper planes, spitballs, and not listening to a word that I was saying. And they portrayed Indiana Jones as the latter. And in earlier films, he was portrayed as everybody was interested. And he was a good teacher too, but I didn't like that scene at all. As far as getting history correct, they really do Archimedes is a character at the end of the movie, And it's kind of strange how Indiana Jones is like, that's like his idol or something. But the actual person, Archimedes, was an ancient Greek mathematician. This actually, the last fighting took place in Sicily, but Archimedes was a mathematician, physicist, engineer, and astronomer and inventor from Greece. The city of Syracuse in Sicily is where he's from. And one thing about Archimedes is he's known for, he was this really incredible, intelligent man, but he was also an inventor. And there was a famous battle called the Siege of Syracuse. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. But the Siege of Syracuse by the Romans was an actual battle that took place in the year 213, 212 BC. The Romans successfully stormed the Hellenistic city of Syracuse after protracting siege, giving them control of the entire island of Sicily. During the siege, the city was protected by weapons developed by Archimedes. Archimedes, the great inventor and polymath, was slain at the conclusion of the siege by a Roman soldier. So they actually, in the Indiana Jones 5 movies, Dial of Destiny, Archimedes is a character, and they actually show the Roman soldier that like is supposed to like kill Archimedes, but Indiana Jones changes the course of history by going back in time. And they somehow travel back to present day, and they don't really touch on that. One of the highlights of the film is they must have had like focus groups where they asked Indiana Jones fans, like, what do you like about Indiana Jones? And then the focus group was like, we like Nazis. We want to see more Nazis. Come on, Indy, Nazis, you know? And so they just like fill this with Nazis as many times as they can. I'm surprised there's not a swastika on the movie poster. Maybe there is. But throughout the film, that is the best part, when Indiana Jones is fighting Nazis. And a couple times he has one not liners like, I hate Nazis or fucking Nazis, you know. But there was a really stupid one liner when he's fighting the Nazi in the opening scene. And this is what I did not want to see, the cheesy one liners. But he has a Nazi on the top of the train, and he's about to push he pushed it right before he pushes the Nazi off the train. He's like, to the victor